I know you were looking down the street looking for Michael Gabor and Jimmy Dimora to see if they were walking down the street. They have stayed very close to the courthouse during this entire period of deliberation. Is that correct?
You're absolutely right, Leon. They have. I understand, at least Mr. Dimora's attorney's office is just down the street, and Mr. Chrisman, who represents Michael Gabor, also has law offices nearby. So they have been within really minutes of this courthouse. You'll recall that twice this week the jury asked a question, and both sides were summoned back into the courthouse. So they're not far away, and we do expect them to come through here really any moment, Leon.
Let me ask you, when did this come down? When did the jury say that they had reached a verdict and were ready to come back into the courtroom?
Well, by my clock, that was probably maybe 4 to 5 minutes ago. We got the word on this, and I want to bring the viewers and you, Leon, into exactly how our News Channel 5 coverage team is going to work this verdict, because it's pretty elaborate, and we've put a lot of planning into this. And I want to bring you into how we're going to do this. The courthouse is right behind me, and the trial was being held on the 5th floor. Now, you know, we can't bring cameras into the federal courthouse, so we have actually been set up as news media 1 floor below, directly below that courtroom, which is a media room. And inside that room, we're able to monitor on a widescreen TV what has been going on inside the courtroom. And we are going to have our News Channel 5 team there provide both you and me with email alerts on when the verdict comes down, and a count-by-count rundown of exactly what the jury has said in each of the 37 counts. So you and I are going to be notified simultaneously by our crews inside the courthouse.
Ron, set the stage for us now. This is federal court, and just as a reminder to our viewers, cameras are not allowed inside federal courtrooms, but they often are in courtrooms at the county level and at the state level. Would you speak a little bit to that as we're waiting on Jimmy Dimora and Michael Gabor to perhaps come down the street? Could you speak a little bit to that?
Sure will, Leon, and I think now we're starting to see some activity. I think Mr. Dimora is probably 2 or 3 blocks away. But yes, in the county cases, you know, you'll typically see us, and the Anthony Sowell case that I covered last summer is a good example of that. You can make your request to the judge, and you'll be permitted to bring cameras into the courtroom. Now, even typically in those cases, we'll have a pool camera, so there'll just be one camera in there providing video and audio for all of the stations. But in federal court, there are very hard and fast rules that prohibit cameras in the courtroom. Now, in the case here, there are built-in cameras recessed into the wall of the federal court, and that provides the closed circuit feed that only goes to our media room. Now, we can, of course, sit in the courtroom, but we can't bring in any electronic equipment, just my notepad. So, you know, you'll alternate in between sitting inside the courtroom and going down to the media room.
Of course,
and I understand. I'm just looking. Just give me a second here. I want to watch as.
If you could swing your camera down that way, if there is something that we can see. We're in downtown Akron right now, and
sure.
Of course, we see a lot of media. There are always cameras there available.
I think what we're both seeing is the sidewalk here that goes in front of the federal courthouse in Akron, and you can see our crews, our News Channel 5 crews, ahead that are waiting for Mr. Dimora. And I can see him now. This is Michael Gabor, and his attorneys are in the front. That is Leif Chrisman, who is in the center. On the right is Michael Gabor, who is a co-defendant in this case.
And we see Jimmy Dimora, the former county commissioner, the former mayor of Bedford Heights.
Mr. Chrisman, do you have a comment? Mr. Whitaker,
yes, Ron.
Comment?
Not at this time.
Mr. Dimora, could you make a comment, please? Mrs. Dimora, do you have any comment at all? Well, of course, neither Mr. Dimora nor his wife were able to comment, declined to comment. There you can see as they enter the courthouse. That's William Whitaker in the lead. He's accompanied by his daughter, Andrea, and they are the defense team for Mr. Dimora. And of course, you saw earlier Mr. Chrisman and Michael Gabor. So we now really, Leon, are at a point where as soon as they get inside, they'll go through security. They'll go upstairs to the 5th floor into the courtroom. At that point, Federal Judge Sarah Leoy will enter the courtroom, and then momentarily they'll bring the jury into the courtroom, and then they'll begin the process of reading the 37-count indictment.
And once again, that big one, and we're going to let you get away in just a minute or two because you've got to get to your seat in the courtroom as they're going through security. But once again, the big one, the big count that we're really looking at is that #1 count regarding racketeering.
Exactly right, Leon. Count #1 is in many respects the ball game, and we're going to be keeping a very, very close eye on that count.
All right. Ron Regan handling the story for us. And Ron, if you've got to get away, I want you to break away so that you can get inside that courtroom as Ron Regan is setting the stage for us. Ron, if I could just hold you just a second. I don't want to keep you away from your job, but while we've got you here, what about the role of the testimony of Frank Russo many days ago in this trial of Dimora and Gabor?
Well, Russo's testimony is going to be critical to this jury, and it's going to be critical in 2 ways, Leon. One, it's alleged that Russo was involved in many of the criminal schemes that Mr. Dimora is alleged to be involved in. He testified on the stand, and it's going to be his believability there that is going to be really, really a key on this. The defense team for Mr. Dimora tried very hard to discredit Frank Russo's testimony and to convince the jury that he was really simply trying to shave years off his own sentence so that he could get out of prison earlier. And of course, he cooperated, struck a plea deal. And so the jury's going to have to decide whether he's simply trying to feather his own bed or whether he is believable.
We will see how it unfolds. It's going to unfold quickly. Ron Regan, I'll let you get your seat there in the courtroom of Judge Leoy, and we will hear what the verdict is from the judge. We appreciate it. I'm going to take a break right now. We begin with the newscast in just a second or so. Be right back in just a second.